To other news, in an unprecedented move that's put the world on alert, Iran has launched more than 300 missiles and drones aimed at Israel. Israel's missile defence system has worked overtime to shoot the missiles down, and both Iran and Israel say the threat is over for now. But with the region already on edge, even the smallest provocation could risk the entire situation becoming even more serious. Here's Middle East correspondent Alison Horn.
Interceptions of missiles and drones in the sky above Israel. Iran launches an unprecedented series of air attacks, sending residents scrambling for cover.
You can hear the sirens right now. We've just run into the bomb shelter. We've just been outside and we've been watching this massive barrage of rockets coming over us right now.
The bombardment, the first by Iran on Israeli soil, has propelled tensions across the region.
Iran committed a very grave act tonight, pushing the Middle East to an escalation. We are doing and will do everything needed to protect the citizens of Israel.
Israel says more than 300 drones and missiles were fired, most intercepted by its aerial defence systems. But a 7-year-old is in a critical condition after being hit by shrapnel, and military buildings have been damaged. The reprisal by Iran comes after a strike on its consulate in Syria earlier this month. While Israel never claimed responsibility, Iran vowed revenge for the 13 lives lost in the attack.
The malicious regime has made a wrong move in this case. It should be punished, and it will be punished.
Iran says the attack was a warning shot, but any further strikes would bring a more severe response, and it's cautioned the US not to get involved. The escalation has prompted the US president to make an abrupt return to Washington. After speaking with the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Joe Biden doubled down, describing the United States' support for Israel as ironclad. World leaders have condemned the aggression. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese saying the escalation is a grave threat to the security of Israel and the entire region, while British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has accused Iran of sowing chaos in its own backyard.
Multiple thresholds have been crossed here that have not been crossed before.
Iranians have taken to the streets of Tehran, waving flags and chanting "Death to Israel, death to America."
What I'm concerned about right now is not just the attacks from Iran and other places, but what will Israel do and when in response?
The United Nations is preparing to hold an emergency meeting in a bid to de-escalate tensions, as the world braces for impact and Israel's inevitable retaliation. Alison Horn, ABC News, Jerusalem.
The big concern is that today's attack by Iran could trigger wider violence in the region. With tensions already high because of the war in Gaza, every provocation has the potential to erupt into a bigger conflict. The Iranian armed forces are among the largest in the Middle East, with more than 500,000 personnel on active duty and about 200,000 in reserve. The Commander-in-Chief of Iran's armed forces is the Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who has the last word on all major decisions. The weapons that were fired today are part of one of the largest arsenals of ballistic missiles and drones in the Middle East. That includes cruise missiles and anti-ship missiles, along with ballistic missiles with ranges up to 2,000 kilometres. That means they have the capacity and range to hit any target in the Middle East, including Israel. But it's Iran's connections to organisations in other countries in the Middle East that means the threat could spread beyond its own borders. This group is known as the Axis of Resistance, and it includes Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis of Yemen, militia groups in Syria and Iraq, and Hamas in Gaza. Iran manufactures a large quantity of missiles and drones itself and exports them to other countries, including Russia and Syria. It's also attempted to make armoured vehicles and large naval vessels itself, and it imports small submarines from North Korea. Today's action is the first time Iran has directly attacked Israel, though. To help explain the global reaction, let's bring in our correspondents. Alison Horn is in Jerusalem and Barbara Miller is in Washington. Alison, you've been sheltering from the missile attack through the night. How is Israel expected to respond?
Well, Jeremy, Israel's military's chief of staff says it's been approved now to respond to this attack. We don't know what form that will take, whether it will be a direct hit on Iranian soil or perhaps on a third-party ally of Iran, like Syria or Lebanon, for example. But we do expect some sort of retaliation within the next 24 hours. We are hearing, though, that there is a lot of danger in this moment, that Israel is sitting on the precipice of what could turn into a massive regional war if this situation escalates further. And we know countries in the Middle East don't want that. They are urging Israel to show some restraint. Iran, for its part, says its operation is now over, though it too is warning Israel that if there is a significant response, in its words, then it will increase its attacks on a level much larger than what we've seen here locally overnight.
And Barb, countries around the world are worried, not least Israel's closest ally, the United States. So what is the US president doing?
I think the president is trying to both reassure Israel that the US has its back, at the same time to urge restraint. We're told on that call that they had, that Joe Biden told Benjamin Netanyahu Israel had demonstrated a remarkable ability to defend itself and had sent a clear message to its foes. Now, the underlying message from Washington is this was a win. Israel, with the help of the US and others, has done enough and should not, in the eyes of the US, further provoke matters. And later today, Jeremy, we also hear that President Biden will convene a meeting of G7 leaders as he seeks to really lead a coordinated diplomatic response to these attacks.
Barbara Miller in Washington and Alison Horn in Jerusalem. Thank you both.